Okay, so obviously your algorithm is working for or against you, depending on what you're into. But I've been seeing a lot of stuff this week, which is about work from home, and work from home becoming less and less popular because companies are gaining control again of their staff. I saw that Germans implementing a 4-day work week, and I saw that somebody was slammed, they call it, on TikTok for suggesting that Generation Z, I think it is, which is born after 95, I think, was hammered for wanting to do a fitness class first thing in the morning at 8 a.m. instead of a business meeting. So you've got all these things going around, and I think what you get with work from home or with remote working or some kind of hybrid position or working on site, I work with this quite a lot. And for me, if you're at the start of your career, obviously it makes sense to want to learn as much as you can. Literally be like a sponge and soak in as much of the role so that you can become a specialist, as much knowledge. And that knowledge, it doesn't come from a book, it doesn't come from a single manager, it comes 360. So when you're in an office situation, depending on what you're trying to do, when you're in an office situation, the people that are managing you obviously have an influence. Your leaders around you, senior people around you, people at the same level and below you also have an influence. And you're not going to get that from a remote job. You're not going to get that as much from a hybrid job. If you're working from home 3 days a week, and then all of a sudden that Monday and Friday when you are in the office, they become social days. So what I'd say is, if you're at the start of your career, if you're in the first 5-10 years of your career, forget about remote work, forget about hybrid role, definitely shorten your commute by living as close as you possibly can to the office so that you don't have an hour commute either way, which is an extra 10 hours on your week. And so that time, instead of being sat on a train or in your car in traffic, and the costs that come with that, you can actually be in the office and learning to master what you're actually trying to do. And obviously, the step before that comes, pick something that you're super passionate about, pick something that gets you excited so that you don't have to think, I really want to work from home, I really want that freedom. Once you've got the level of experience that you want to attain, it depends on how ambitious you are, but once you've got, say for instance, 10 years experience in your trade, and you're a design engineer, and you can work from home most of the time, and then you can be doing your own stuff and have the freedom, there's no commute, be doing your fitness in the morning, everything's great, you've got more time to spend with your wife and your children, more time to spend on the house, it makes total sense. But of course, you cannot recreate the thinking of older people in this sphere. So whatever industry you're in, the older people from older generations are still going to be thinking that the people that they can see working on a day-to-day basis, they're the people that are going to be taking the roles. They're the people that are going to be taking the promotions in front of you. So if you're the guy who likes to sit at home 4 or 5 days a week or come in once a month, of course you're going to get overlooked for promotions. No matter how good your work is, of course you are. Your location matters so much to how much you actually get paid. It's the number one deciding factor in America and in the UK. Where you actually live deciphers how much you actually earn. It's as simple as that. So what I would say is, if you're in the first 10 years of your career, it's absolutely imperative that you are in the office as much as possible so that you're learning 360 around you from your leaders, from the people at your level and the people from below. And as you kind of hit 10 years experience plus, you can work from home, you're probably going to get that option. There's going to be higher paying jobs that are working from home. So you get that crossroads where you're going to get paid more and you get all that free time to work from home. And it seems like a better life. But it comes at the cost of you being overlooked for promotions and being overlooked to get into more senior roles, which will eventually give you the freedom. And there's an argument to say, it depends on your personality, depends what you want to get out of work and your life. You might be happy earning good money and having lots of freedom. It certainly seems that way. So it's certainly kind of like the way of, I just read an article about millennial thinking now. It's kind of, they've forgotten the American dream. They're not interested in the American dream anymore. What they want is time and freedom and a good paying job as well. And you need to kind of get to a level in order to have all those things. But if you are the type of person who wants to go as far as they possibly can in their career or in business, you're going to be working 50, 60 hours a week. There's no way around that. You can automate as much as you want. You can put as much AI in as what you want. You can delegate as much as you want. If you want to go as far as you possibly can, you're going to be working 50, 60 hours a week. And you've got to accept that, embrace it, and be able to be comfortable at fitting your fitness in fitting your life in around that, maybe sacrificing relationships and children until later on in life, until you actually get to where you want to get to. And that's the next thing I would say. From working around different people, I was talking about this only yesterday, but from working around different people who have, in my eyes, made it, they had a goal, and that was very detailed goal as to what that would look and feel like in the future. And that might have been 10, 15, 20-year goal, and they've achieved that at different levels. And if I think of my 3 top examples, I was doing a podcast not too long ago, and these 3 people came up. It was because they knew what they wanted to do in the future, and they knew what that looked like. So they knew where they'd be living, they knew how much leisure time they'd be having, and they knew kind of like the get out, the amount that they needed in order to retire, in order to get out. And I think when you speak to most people, they always have the dream of, I'm going to get to 40, I'm going to get to 45, I'm going to retire so I can retire on a beach and drink margaritas on a beach in Barbados. It's like when you break that down, okay, how does that look like? And I think Jordan Peterson says that. It's like, how does that look like? How many margaritas are you going to drink on the beach? Like, it's going to get boring pretty quickly, is his point. And it does get boring. And so your mind, especially if you've had an active mind for 30, 40 years, all of a sudden, if you switch it off and start to drink margaritas on the beach, after about 6 months, you become very, very bored. The people around you are those types of people that you don't want to be associated with. And so you need something else to get your teeth into. And I think that's another key point. It's like, okay, once you've got your figure, and that's what I was saying before, it's kind of like, if you speak to most people, they want to retire, they want to kind of retire early, they want to still have energy to do the things they really want to do, traveling, etc., whilst they're still young, but they don't have a figure what that will actually be. And maybe inflation and comes into that, and maybe they don't know what the next 10, 15 years, what will happen in the world and what will happen in their country. And it depends on where you want to retire, what you want to do. But I would say that you need to constantly kind of plan that and manage that as you're going along your life, because otherwise you find yourself at 50, 55 years old, and you're like, whoa, I'm still doing this job. And yeah, I've got a bigger house and a nicer car and everything's great, but I'm still working. I'm still kind of like, I'm still having to come to a workplace in order to, and so you need to constantly reevaluate. Just going back to the German article that I saw, the Germans are trialing the 4-day work week. 100% it works. Like, I've always said that you can get a full day's work done in 4 hours. 4 hours, like absolute maximum it takes you to do a full day's work for 4 hours. And that's the amount of time that you can dedicate your focus to. And then all of a sudden you start to kind of like, you focus, and it's high level, then it starts to drop. And when it starts to drop, that's the time to take a break, maybe go to the gym and then come back and then become refreshed. But you've got another 2-3 hours. If you're really, really focused on a very interesting task, maybe you can do long days, which can be study days of 8, 10, 12 hours. But that's once in a while. If you do that often, too much, you're gonna get burnt out. So I'd say that 4-day work week, absolutely it can work. And what that does, it gives the opportunity for anybody who wants to work a Friday, Saturday and Sunday, or one of those days, to get ahead. And that's what the world should be like. If people want to get ahead, if they want to work harder, if they want to work smarter, if they want to learn more and add that to the value that they have in the workplace, they should be rewarded for that. So I think without a doubt it will work, and it will give German people the chance to have that longer weekend every weekend, which gives them a better quality of life, and hopefully for the same amount of money. And it will work. It's proven that it will work. So yeah, those are the things I'll say. There's so much going on, whether you're Generation Z, whether you're millennial, whether you're baby boomer. For me, it doesn't matter. What matters is your work ethic and your discipline and how much you really want it. It's exactly the same as running in the workplace. If you really want it, if your work ethic is solid, and if you're disciplined, you can achieve anything you want.